Today I am going to discuss about the direct energy conversion technique. It is a technique in which heat is directly converted to electricity by eliminating the link process of producing mechanical via steam as used in Rankine cycle. All conventional power plants like steam turbine, gas turbine, diesel power plant first converts the thermal energy into mechanical energy which is further used to run electric generator. सो जितनी भी हमारे नंबर ऑफ स्टेजेस बढ़ते जाएंगे तो हमारी वो लॉसेस भी उन कन्वर्जन स्टेजेस में बढ़ती जाएंगी, क्योंकि जितने भी स्टेजेस हमारी ज़्यादा होंगी उनकी इफ़िशियंसी भी हमारी मल्टीप्लाई होती जाती है उसी के अकॉर्डिंग. नाउ मूविंग ऑन द फर्दर स्लाइड्स, the different direct energy conversion techniques, that is solar photovoltaic power system, thermoelectric conversion system, and thermoionic conversion system, and magneto hydrodynamic conversion system. We will further see this type of topic in the further slides. Now basically in the direct energy conversion techniques what happens, that is primary energy converted into electric energy. As we see in the diagram, that is photovoltaic solar cell in which the primary energy is directly converted into electricity. And in the case of MHD generator, the thermal energy is converted into by using the MHD generator into the electric energy and so on. And same thing is possible into thermoelectric power generation, that is converted into electricity energy. That is primary energy conversion with less number of processes. So now firstly we are going to discuss about photovoltaic cell. Electricity can be produced from the solar energy sunlight by photovoltaic cell which converts solar energy directly into electricity. Photovoltaic cell mainly works on the principle of photovoltaic effect. Now we have to a quick review of the history of solar. That is, before the Christ, in the 7th century of BC, humans began using solar power to light fires. And in 1954, the invention of first solar cell. Then after that, the first solar power aircraft invented in 1981. Then further in 1999, the PV power installed worldwide. Now, now present era, the launched car with solar powered roof. So it is a quick review. Now we are going to briefly uh, see everything. That is working diagram. In here, when the light incident, light generates electron pairs. That is also known as the photovoltaic effect, and the electrons flow across the n side due to the voltage difference. So electrons flow through wiring to external loads and back to a p side. So we can see in the diagram, that is the depletion zone is also exist when the n-type and p-type materials meet. Then there is a neutral position exists between them, that is called as depletion zone. So when the light came, then this depletion zone goes into activation zone. So movement of electrons and generation of electron hole pair. So that is this is a working. Solar cell relies on the effect that light has on the junction between two semiconductors called p-type and n-type. And n-type is obtained by the doping of phosphorus in the silicon, and p-type is obtained by doping of the boron in silicon. The sunlight strikes the cell and penetrates to the junction to generate electron and hole pairs. When cell connected to the load, the electrons will diffuse from n-type to p-type. The direction of current I is opposite to the movement of electrons. Now we are moving to next slide. Okay. Now we are moving on the classification of solar cell. Solar cell is basically divided according to the time. So first generation wafer based silicon, that is also subdivided into the parts of monocrystalline solar cells and polycrystalline silicon solar cells. Now second one is the second generation thin films, that is also subdivided into two types, that is amorphous silicon and that is cadmium telluride thin film solar cells. Now third generation is also known as the new technologies, new emerging technologies, that is nanocrystal based solar cells, polymer based solar cells, and dye sensitized solar cells and concentrated solar cells. And perovskite based solar cell is also is going to the next generation solar cells. Moving on the next slide, that is the first generation solar cell wafer based. The first generation solar cell are produced on the silicon wafers. It is the oldest and most popular technology due to the higher power efficiencies. It is also subdivided, that is monocrystalline silicon solar cells and polycrystalline silicon solar cells as seen in the diagram. The efficiency of monocrystalline silicon's single crystalline silicon solar cells lies between 17% to 18%, and the efficiency of polycrystalline silicon solar cell is about 12 to 14%. Now we are moving on the second generation solar cells, that is the thin film solar cells. The most of film solar cells and amorphous silicon are generation solar cells and are more economical as compared to the first generation silicon wafer solar cells. The silicon wafer solar cells have light absorbing layers up to 350 micrometer thick, while the thin film solar cells have a very thin light absorbing layers, generally of order of 1 micrometer. Thin solar cells are classified as amorphous silicon and cadmium telluride. Now we are going to discuss about amorphous silicon thin film, that is solar cell. Amorphous silicon solar cells can be manufactured at a low process temperature, thereby permitting the use of various low-cost polymer and other flexible substrates. So these substrates requires less energy, so they are comparatively cheaper, and widely available. The main issue of a silicon solar cell is the poor and almost unstable efficiency. The cell efficiency automatically falls at a PV module level. So currently the efficiency of the commercial PV modules are the range of 4 to 8%. So it is unstable. The cadmium telluride thin film solar cells. Among the thin film solar cells, the cadmium telluride is one of the leading candidate for the development of cheaper, economical photovoltaic device, and it is also the first PV technology at the low cost. The cadmium telluride has a band gap of 1.5 electron volt as well as a high optical absorption coefficient and chemical stability. So cadmium telluride is an excellent direct band gap crystalline compound semiconductor, which makes the absorption of light easier and improve the efficiency. Its efficiency is usually operates in the range of 9% to 11%. Here we can see that it's a conventional cadmium telluride solar cell structure and modified cadmium telluride solar cell structure, that is glass superstrate and front contact SNO2 and N-type CDS and P-type cadmium telluride, and also the thickness of the various stages is given, And there is a modified, the difference between conventional cadmium telluride and modified, that is a layer of zinc oxide. The mainly the zinc oxide increases the leakage of current, so that's why the modified cadmium telluride solar cell structure is more efficient than the conventional cadmium telluride solar cell structure. Now we are moving on to the third generation solar cells, that is also emerging technologies, not stable, but now time the research are going on this type of generation, these type of solar cells. First one is nanocrystal based solar cells. Nanocrystal based solar cells are generally also known as the quantum dot solar cells. These solar cells are composed of semiconductors, generally from transition metal groups, which are in the size of nanocrystal cells. QD is a just name of crystalline size ranging typically within a few nanometers in size. For example, materials like porous silicon or porous titanium oxide, which are frequently used in quantum dots. With the advance of nanotechnology, these nanocrystals of semiconductor materials are targeted to replace the semiconductor materials in bulk state, such as silicon, cadmium telluride, or CIGS. When a photon strikes a quantum dot of made of the similar semiconductor materials, numerous electron hole pairs can be formed. Usually, two or three, also seven has been observed in few cases. Now we are moving on the polymer solar cells. That is polymer solar cells are generally flexible solar cells due to the polymer substrate. The first polymer were invented by the research group of Tang et at Kodak Research Lab. A PSC is a composed of serially connected thin functional layers coated on a polymer foils or ribbons. It works usually as combination of donor and acceptor fluorescence, the discovering a new category of polymer materials known as the conducting polymers. Now, dye-sensitized solar cells. Recent research has been focused on improving solar efficiency by the molecular manipulation and use of nanotechnology for the harvesting light energy. The first DSC solar cell was introduced by Michael Kretschel in Swiss Federal Institute of Technology. DSSC-based solar cells generally employs dye molecule between the different electrodes. The DSSC device consists of four components, that is semiconductor, electrodes, N-type and P-type, a dye sensitizer, redox mediator, and counter electrodes. Now, if we are talking about the now we are going to talk about concentrated solar cells. Here, from the diagram, we can see that here is we use mirror, and by using the application of optics, we can concentrate the we can concentrate the light rays on the solar cell. So by using this type of techniques, we can we can improve the efficiency of solar cells, that is almost greater than 40%. Absence of any moving parts, that is the huge achievement for the industry of the solar cells. Now we are moving on the next type of, that is perovskite based solar cells. Perovskites are class of compounds defined by the formula AbX3, where X represents halogens such as iodine, bromine, or chlorine, and A and B are cations of different size. The perovskite-based solar cells can have efficiency up to 31%. However, current issues या प्रॉब्लम ये आ रही कि perovskite सोलर सेल्स की जो इसके मटेरियल्स हैं और उनकी ड्यूरेबिलिटी और स्टेबिलिटी है वो दोनों सही नहीं है, because they degrades over time and hence a drop in overall efficiency. Therefore, there is a need of more research on this field. So maybe perovskite is the future of the PV cell. Now we are moving on to the a technique, that is bifacial solar cell. By using this type of solar cell, we can improve the efficiency a little bit. As we can see in the diagram, the front part and the rear part of the solar cell. When the light came from the sun onto the front part, then some part of the light from the sun goes onto the cloud and also go on the ground. But uh, due to reflection, some part of the ground will be to go to the rear part of the solar cells. So that's why the efficiency of the solar cell increases. From the electrical data, we can see can compare, that is only front, when the module efficiency is about to 17.08%, and when the irradiation percentage on back side based on the ground reflectivity, if that is a 15%, then increases up to 19.20% of the module efficiency. And if that is ground reflectivity is 20%, the module efficiency increases up to 20.20%. And if ground reflectivity is 25%, then module efficiency is increases up to 21.01%. So we can here see, if module efficiency is 25%, then the module efficiency increases to 21.01%. And if ground reflectivity is 30%, so my model efficiency increased up to 21.80%. So we can improve the solar cell efficiency by using the 5 facial solar cells. Now here some surface types, that is green pile grass, that is albedo percentage is 23%, and concrete is 16%, and white gravel, that is 27%, and white roofing foil for solar application, that is more than 80%. Now we are moving on to the application. As we can see in the diagram, first diagram, that is by using the solar cell, someone can charge their electric vehicle. In the second diagram, we can see that if at the highest level, that is if you are in a at the place where the coal based power plant not reached, so we can use the solar cells for producing electricity, and also we can use solar cells to generate electricity and give a power to satellite. So increase more durability and stability of the satellite. Now last one, I think we can understand this thing. What is this? That is, you can charge your mobile by using solar cells. Now we are moving on to the topic, that is the future expectation of the solar cells, that is, compared to 2018 levels, cumulative solar cell capacity is expected to grow sixfold by 2030. As we can see, that is up to the 2050, the total overall almost 8,500 gigawatt is going to be increase. Now we are moving on to the this next slide. That is, the coal percentage is 52.1%, and overall solar power is almost 50 45 gigawatt 45 gigawatt. That is almost 11.8% of the total power generation in India. Now if we can see the cost per megawatt hour, that is the first, if we see the solar panels, so the initially the cost is high, but as the duration increases and now present era, the cost is as lower as possible if we compare any other sources of electricity like coal, thermal, and geothermal and natural gases. So we can, so we should have to definitely use this thing as much as possible. That is global market share by PV technology from 1992 to 2013. Initially, monosilicon is heavily used, but as the duration increases, the new research is going on, and so multi-silicon and ribbon silicon and thin film type of PV technologies are growing. Now moving on to new job, if we see a new thing, that is new jobs in PV power system up to the 2050. The solar PV industry employed 3.6 million people worldwide in 2018, and this number is expected to rise further to 18.7 million people by 2050 in the remap case. If we want to make a 1 megawatt solar power plant, so there are some requirements. That is the 70, that is glass, that is 70 tons, that is steel 56 tons, and concrete 47 tons, and aluminium, that is 19 tons, and silicon, that is 7 tons, copper, that is also 7 tons, and plastic, that is 6 tons. So if so this is the requirement to make a 1 megawatt solar PV plant. Now if we see the statewide solar power potential of India, that is, we can see from the graph, that is, it is the maximum for Rajasthan and maximum, and after that, that is the Jammu Kashmir. Now if we see the average price of electricity in the day ahead market, that is initially that was 3.22 rupees per unit and 3.34 rupees unit, and now it is up to March 20, that is 2.47 rupee per unit. Imports of solar cells during financial year 2014 to 15 to 2019-20. China, we can see from the graph that China is the greatest importer of this. China is the biggest seller for Indian market. So from this graph, it is also said that we have to also create now India's ultra mega solar cell power parks. That is the Badla Industrial Solar Park. And it is capacity, that is the 2245 megawatt, and it is situated in the Rajasthan. And Pavagada Solar Park, that is capacity is 2050 megawatt and operational in Karnataka. Kurnool Ultra Mega Solar Park, and so on. Now, this is the solar parks of India, that is Kamuthi Solar Power Project and Badla Solar Power Projects. Yes, that's all. Thank you, sir.